Hey everybody, what's up? Josh and Des here, and today we're going to be doing our April 2015 wrap-up.
And go! So I read 12 books this month, and just to explain this before, because I haven't explained this in past videos, I actually read or listened to 8 audiobooks and read 4 books. So I'm going to start with the audiobooks that I listened to this month first. I started off with Emma by Jane Austen, then Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Elier Sainz, which I don't think is correct at all, but that's the best I can do. I can't remember what the audiobook said for the pronunciation. Then I listened to All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, followed by Cinder by Marissa Mayer. Then I followed that with Scarlet also by Marissa Mayer, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. Then I moved on to Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I followed that with another Jane Austen book, Northanger Abbey. And finally, I wrapped up my audiobook reading with Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, which was a reread for me. Because of the craziness this month, I only got to reading 4 physical books, and they were Ruin and Rising, which is the 3rd book in the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. Then I picked up March by Geraldine Brooks. Over the readathon, I read Wonder by R.J. Palacio, which was a reread for me from last year. And finally, I wrapped up the month with Little Women by Louisa May Alcott.
So I was able to read a total of 6 books in April, and they were Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page, all 4 books of the City of Ember series, which included The City of Ember, The People of Sparks, The Prophet of Yonwood, and The Diamond of Darkhold by Jean Duprow, and Messenger by Lois Lowry.
Oh, and I just forgot that I actually read Vicious, the audiobook version of Vicious by V.E. Schwab as well. So that actually makes a total of 13 books for me. So this is the first time I've ever set like an actual TBR for myself for the month of April, and I think for my first TBR it was actually not too bad. I ended up reading 4 out of the 7 books I believe I said I wanted to read or start this last month. There are a couple that I didn't get to, and one I know I didn't start that I wanted to start. So yeah, I actually find that pretty successful. I don't actually count my audiobooks as TBR books because I fortunately work in a job right now that I can listen to audiobooks all day, so it's kind of my choices for that are kind of like on a day-to-day basis, kind of a whim, so yeah.
I didn't follow my TBR at all. I read none of the books I had on there. I think I had 8, but I didn't follow it because I got distracted by one book, and then another book, and then another book, and then another book, so. But I plan to hopefully read those in May. Now I just want to talk about some of our favorite books we read in April.
So I have to say that for me, April was a lot better month for reading than March was. I think I read a lot more books that I just really liked more than I did the previous month in March. Got several that I really want to talk about, so I'm going to try to keep it short with some and share my opinions with several of the ones that really struck me. So the first book I want to talk about is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I was actually in the pre-order for this one when it came out last summer, but I was not in the mood at the time when I finally got it, unfortunately, to read it, so I didn't read it till now. I was a little bit disappointed, and I've heard other people say this too, about how this book ended. I would definitely agree, it didn't quite go the way I kind of hoped or thought it might, and not necessarily in a good way, so yeah, I have mixed feelings about this one. This is definitely probably my least favorite of the trilogy, but yeah, I guess Leigh Bardugo is going to be coming out with another book, which is called Six of Crows or something like that, which takes place in this universe, so I'm kind of looking forward to that, but yeah, overall, this book was a little bit of a disappointment, but there were some things in it that I definitely enjoyed, and I would definitely recommend picking it up if you're interested in the trilogy or haven't read the final book yet. The next book I want to talk about is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. The whole theme of the book was suicide, and I don't know why I'm smiling, it's not a happy thing. But anyway, it's one of those topics where I think it's really struck me because doesn't seem to be a lot out there about that sort of thing, and Jennifer Niven did an awesome job with it. I really enjoyed it, even though it was depressing and I had to listen to something else afterwards because it was, yeah. Anyway, fantastic book. I would definitely recommend it. The next book I want to talk about is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and that is another one that came out this year and I kept hearing a lot about, and I listened to it on audiobook, and people kept saying about how like there was this huge twist near the end of the book, and when I was listening to it I kept waiting for this twist. I was super excited. People said it was so like out of the blue and it just made it sound like it was this huge thing, and I hate to say it, but I kind of predicted the twist, and I don't want to go into it because, again, spoilers. But, yeah, it wasn't as big a twist as I thought, so I was a little bit disappointed in that. It sounds like there's going to be more books, and it's probably going to be a trilogy, I think. So I think I'll probably, like, it was good enough that I probably want to continue reading it, but, yeah, it wasn't, for me, it was not what it was chalked up to be, so, yeah. Oh, another book I have to talk about that was probably my favorite this last month was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I have been meaning to read this for a very long time. People have been talking about it since, I think, like last year. I've heard people, like, just on BookTube say how much they loved it. If I had to sum it up, it was basically like Frankenstein crossed with the TV show Heroes. It was... I love that sort of thing, so it was really good and really well written. And I just really enjoyed it. So pick it up if you haven't read it. V.E. Schwab is definitely now one of my new favorite authors.
So the first thing I want to talk about is the Ember series, which I never planned to read, but I just picked up the first book and I liked it. So I kept on reading the rest of them. And yeah, overall they're a pretty good series. I really did enjoy them, except the third book, which nobody liked. It was a bad prequel. But overall, it was really good. It's about these people who live in an underground city because a bunch of war is happening up above on Earth. So they don't want the human race to die out, so they put them down there. That's all I want to say. I don't want to say anything else to give spoilers, but yeah, I definitely think you should read them. But maybe skip the third book. Pretend it never existed. Second thing I wanted to talk about was Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I didn't plan to read this one either, but my friend really wanted me to, so I did. And I don't know, it wasn't as good as I thought it'd be. Like, a few of my classmates read it and they're like, oh, it's so good. And I was like, well, okay. But I don't know, I guess I was expecting more after what they said. I mean, the beginning was good, the middle-ish was kind of, yeah. The end was the best part, though. I liked the ending, really. But I guess you should still read it.
So that wraps up our wrap-up /favorites video. Until next time, book.